And so you still live, I'm told, in a house in Plains, a modest house. It never tempted you, nor him, to collect rich board memberships. It would have been easy for an ex-president to do that. The devil never tempted you with that.
Well, he had lots of offers, and still gets lots of offers, but and to be college presidents and things like that. But no, Plains, I grew up there, Jimmy grew up there, my mother was there, his mother was there, when both are gone now, but they were alive when we came home from the White House, had a brother there, and Jimmy's family was all, oh, it's home. I mean, we've done a lot of things, we always come home. I wouldn't give up my house.
Well, when you were young, a young married woman, I read you had a bout of depression when he told you he was leaving the Navy and the future was in Plains. You weren't so keen on it.
I was not happy to come back home. I was very young when I got married. I had 3 little boys. The oldest one was 5. One was a few months old, and not maybe a year old or something. I don't remember. And I thought, we were, you know, Jim was the Navy. We just lived in Hawaii for 2 years, and he was on a nuclear. Attached to the 2nd nuclear submarine. We were living in Schenectady, New York. They were building the reactor to the submarine. Had a great future in the Navy, but I was having a good time traveling and seeing the world. And I thought I would come home and my mother would be there and his mother would be there to tell me how to take care of the children and what I don't know. I had got a little too big for my britches, I think.
But when he went into politics, that's the opposite. Sometimes a young married woman will shudder at that, thinking, I'm going to lose my husband to politics, and even more so the presidency. Did you get that fear at some point?
No.
No?
I think I was just overwhelmed that he might even be involved in politics or something. It was exciting to me. I don't think I'd ever known him. His father had been in the state legislature, died after 1 year, after serving 1 year. I don't know, I was just kind of thrilled.
And you said something one time, he was the leader, I was the politician. What does that mean?
He's not a politician. I think everybody realizes that. He thinks, one thing that happened though that I think influenced a lot of what he did when he was president is that in Georgia, a governor could not succeed himself.
Yeah.
And so if you wanted to get anything done, you had to get a lot of things. I mean, you had to get it all together very early to be able to work on it and get things finished in 4 years. And so when he got, and so you could step on toes, which he did. He totally reorganized the state government. It was not popular at all. But it was what was best
didn't he make
for the
that
country.
famous speech, segregation is, I had to say to you, the time for segregation, I remember. Was that when he was governor? Or?
Yeah, that was his inaugural address as governor.
And that tackled the issue head on.
That's right. But reorganizing government too, because stepped on a lot of toes and did away with departments that were not functioning and so forth. And then, so when he got to be president, he just thought he ought to do what was best for the country, whether it was popular or not.
And you said you were the politician because you liked to go to people.
Well, I think he enjoyed going to people, but he just thought, lots of times people know things that need to be done. For instance, things like the Panama Canal treaties, which every president since Lyndon Johnson knew had to be done, but wanted to do it in a 2nd term or something because it was so unpopular. He just thought if things like that, no matter what it was, if it needed to be done, energy policy, which is not popular. I don't think he did anything that was popular. But he thought that if it needed to be done, you ought to be able to do it. And I was the one who worried about the consequences.
And did you give him advice?
I used to say, why don't you wait till your 2nd term? He would say, suppose I don't have a 2nd term.
So he had that Georgia mentality from the first experience. But one thing that stunned me in the research is he started talking about running for president in '73. That would mean still in that only term as Georgia governor. And everybody was stunned. Like his mother said, president of what? Were you stunned when he announced his intention?
Well, it was '72. He got. It was before he decided to run. He got a note from one of our friends saying, I think you ought to run for president. And so we had been having these little meetings, and I couldn't even say the word. My husband running for it, and it was so unbelievable that I couldn't even, and he couldn't either. He said, I'm going to run. He was talking to his sister. He said, I'm going to run for political office.
But it worked.
It worked. It worked.
And you also said somewhere that that inaugural day was the happiest day of your life.
It probably was. It was. And the reason is because I had traveled over the country for more than a year and met all of these wonderful people. And when there are all your friends, and you couldn't have done it without any of them. And it's just, you know, it's really emotional.
And Mrs. Carter, I want to thank you for sharing that with us. And I want to say here at your mental health symposium, which I saw a bit of last night, you were again surrounded by hundreds, and I'm sure thousands of friends who are very grateful to you for the work you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Enjoy it.
Me too.
Bob.
Rosalynn Carter was the inaugural guest on our Ladies of the White House series. That's the World Show for this week. I'm Bob Scully. Have a great week. Thanks.